now 101.5 FM.
You're listening to Montana Morning with Peter Christian.
Bail set at $100,000 after the accidental shooting last week in Lake County. Good morning, everyone. This is Montana Morning. It is Monday, October the 27th, 2014. Right now we have 40 degrees under a cloudy sky in western Montana. Our newscast this morning sponsored by Temp-Rite Service. For all of your plumbing and heating needs, call Team Blue at 728-1111. Bail has been set at $100,000 for a Lake County man accused of shooting and killing a 3-year-old boy. NBC Montana reports that Galen Hawk appeared in court Friday in Polson on a charge of negligent homicide. Hawk told investigators he'd been drinking whiskey and alcoholic lemonade the night of the shooting. Lake County Deputy Attorney James Lopatka commented in court.
And he chose to take a handgun similar to this one, a 380 handgun, loaded while he was intoxicated and pointed at a child.
For now, Karen Sargent with the Lake County Sheriff's Office says no other suspects are involved.
At this point in time, the investigation has not led us to believe that there was anybody else involved.
Hawk faces a maximum of 20 years in prison and or a $50,000 fine if convicted on the negligent homicide charge. The female accomplice of accused killer Kevin Leno, 28-year-old Angela Marchese, appeared in Missoula Justice Court Friday to face felony obstruction of justice charges. Chief Deputy Criminal County Attorney Jason Marks asked Judge Karen Orzek to maintain Marchese's bond for the next few days.
Your Honor, I'd ask that the court leave bail at $50,000 and have her reappear next Thursday if that works for the court schedule to address that. I anticipate that her mother will be traveling up here from Casper, and in turn we can probably work out an arrangement that would, other than having her in custody.
Marchese is disabled and confined to a wheelchair. Judge Orzek agreed and maintained bail at $50,000 until Marchese's mother could arrive and care for her daughter in Missoula while the legal process continues. Marchese, Kevin Leno, and 2 others involved in the shooting death of Missoula transient Gilbert Berry, Kenneth Hickman, and Michaela Trembrell are all in the Missoula County Jail. Hickman has been charged with felony aggravated assault, while Trembrell has been released on bond for a charge of accountability to aggravated assault. The victim of a 2011 stabbing has sued a Gallatin Gateway bar, saying the staff should have acted sooner. The Bozeman Daily Chronicle reports Zane Renfro's lawsuit against Stacy's Bar and his attacker Mark Logan was filed last week in Gallatin County District Court. Logan pleaded no contest to a charge of assault with a weapon. He's scheduled to be sentenced on November 24th. Prosecutors say Logan stabbed Renfro 6 times with a hunting knife during a fight in October of 2011. A 19-year-old Laurel man has pleaded guilty to 2 rape charges, while his mother faces charges of possessing nude pictures of one of the underage victims. Prosecutors say Jordan Todd Coleman had a sexual relationship with a 13-year-old girl and raped another 13-year-old girl in his basement last year. Coleman pleaded guilty on Friday to 2 counts of sexual intercourse without consent and violating a protection order. He'll be sentenced at a later date. With Election Day just about a week and a day away, the Missoula County Elections Office is gearing up for numerous write-in candidates this election cycle. In preparation, Elections Administrator Rebecca Connors says an extra team has been brought in to help tally votes. Connors explains how it'll work.
We have 3 machines that scan the absentee ballots that come back, and so we basically assign a board per machine. Typically in larger elections we use 3 machines, and that's why we have 3 boards, so that's why we are bringing in a 3rd team. And just depends. We'll just keep working until all of those ballots are read. I'm not sure how long it'll take, but we're prepared to count them all until the end.
Connor says each team is also selected in a particular way.
Well, we do one of each party, or we don't try to have a majority of party, I should say. So as our election judge, when they sign up for training and commit to being an election judge, they have to declare their party, and that could be no party, could be Libertarian, could be Republican, Democrat. We just have to make sure there's not a majority party counting those names. Not 2 Republicans or 2 Democrats are counting those names. We want to make sure that there's different eyes looking at the process.
The write-in candidate filing deadline was September 26th. A Montana woman is appealing her conviction for killing her husband of 8 days by pushing him off a cliff in Glacier Park last year. Jordan Graham's attorneys argue in an appeal filed with the 9th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals that prosecutors distorted and withheld evidence to convince jurors that Graham planned to kill Cody Lee Johnson on July 7th of 2013. The former director of the University of Montana Bureau of Business and Economic Research, Paul Polson, recently received a national award from the Association for University Business and Economic Research. Present Director Patrick Markey says the award's only been conferred upon a select few.
It is only been granted 4 times in the organization's 64-year history. It's called the Thane Robeson Award, and it is given to him because of his lifetime contributions, also for his leadership role and mentoring role.
Markey says the University of Montana's Bureau of Business and Economic Research has only had 3 directors, and that Polson was the director for 20 years.
Paul came to Montana in 1968 as a newly minted professor, and he's been in the Bureau ever since, and he served as director from 88 to 2008.
The Bureau of Business and Economic Research at UM is a research center producing economic and industry data for the state of Montana. A former co-worker of Montana Supreme Court candidate Lawrence Van Dyke is questioning the ex-Solicitor General's fitness for the post he's seeking. Department of Justice Civil Division Bureau Chief Mike Black says Van Dyke's performance during his 1.5 years as Solicitor General makes him believe the candidate lacks the maturity and work ethic needed to hold a seat on the state's highest court. Van Dyke dismisses the allegations as a personal vendetta by Black. Van Dyke says he left the department in May because of an ongoing conflict with Black. Their dispute came to a head in January over the workload in a case involving a same-sex couple receiving the same benefits as married couples. Department of Justice spokesman John Barnes declined to assess Van Dyke's performance as Solicitor General, saying it would be inappropriate. And attorneys for Barry Beach, who is serving 100 years without the possibility of parole for the 1979 beating death of a high school classmate, are asking the Montana Supreme Court to order him resentenced with consideration for the fact that he was 17 at the time of the offense. The Great Falls Tribune reports a petition filed last week argues Beach's sentence in the death of Kimberly Nees is the equivalent of a life sentence and is cruel and unusual. Our News Talk time now is 6:10.
Newstalk, KGVO.
Missoula's official weather station.
Spotty sprinkles and showers are expected early in the day, then becoming partly cloudy with our highs in the upper 40s. Isolated showers tonight, otherwise mostly cloudy with our low just below freezing. I'm meteorologist Brooke Foster for KECI 13, your first alert station.